In this episode, we are going to be talking about the common bareboat chartering mistakes. Well, bareboat charters are one of the most rewarding ways to explore waters. Small missteps lead to massive headaches. So let's try to give you some insights on that and how not to be in a bad position. Again, before we begin, NauticEd offers the Bareboat Charter Master Bundle, which allows you to really understand what's going on with these charter boats. They also provide the international licensing that you will need if you want to go to the Mediterranean. So they have all that lined up. They also have charter agents, so they can set you up with really any location you want. So let's begin. Some of the biggest mistakes happen before you even arrive. Probably the biggest one is not having the right qualifications. Many charter companies out there require more than a certification, and that's what people seemingly forget. Ultimately, what most of these charter companies want is they want to see documented experience, right? They don't want to just give you a boat and then hope for the best. And a lot of the education programs and schools out there, they've turned into more certificate mills, so they just give you a certificate. So everyone's a little bit more cautious of all that. For regions like the Mediterranean or Seychelles, you need a sailing license. So you can get that through NauticEd. Another mistake before you arrive is over or under provisioning. So it's all about striking the right balance. If you're in the Mediterranean, for instance, go light. There's a lot of local restaurants and a ton of restocking opportunities are all over the place. So you should be fine there. Remote areas, you want to plan carefully as resupply options may be limited. You don't want to forget extras like adapters, chargers, fun gear like snorkels or kayaks, paddle boards, card game. You don't want to go without the card game. Now, another fault is choosing the wrong boat. So you want to match the boat to your crew. So catamarans are ideal for families, groups, and those new to sailing, right? New sailing vacationers. So ask your agent detailed questions about the boat amenities like air conditioning. Does it work at anchor or only at the dock, type deal. If you're a monohull sailor, you can charter a catamaran with some preparation. Often it's a skipper checkout. So basically you show up there and they want to see how you handle the boat, and then they can sign you off there. Another major issue is relying on outdated or rusty skills. So it is very important to practice before you end up at the charter place, right? You want to be very clear on navigation, both charts and electronic. You want to be very familiar with mooring and anchoring and troubleshooting any of the boat systems that could happen. You also want to be pretty comfortable with maneuvering in tight spaces. And for that one, practice is key. Now we're moving on to the mistakes when starting your charter. First one, skipping the boat orientation. So you want to pay close attention to the boat briefing, ask questions, take notes, especially about systems like waste tanks. Understand how to use all the equipment. Don't assume it works as expected. Sometimes it just really doesn't. Next one, you neglect the pre-departure checklist. So verify everything is promised on board and everything is functional, like fans, lights, bedding, safety equipment. Test critical items like anchor gear and dinghy attachments. That is also why it's kind of important to work with good charter companies and trusted agents so you can avoid that. There are a lot of charter companies out there, and not all of them are cut from the same cloth. So you want to be aware of that. The next one is not shaking out the charter dust. Before, while you're about to head out, you want to inspect all the lines. You want to inspect the sails, the equipment before setting off. So check the reefing lines, the mainsail hoist, and all critical systems. You want to resolve all of these issues at the dock before you get out there. And that does happen. There's been a few stories where people will rent the boat. They think everything's fine. They get out there, mainsail doesn't go up, and then they have to come back. Really dampens the mood. Okay, so the next bit, mistakes while sailing. Now, this one is a pretty obvious one, and, it's no matter if you're chartering or you're just boating, right? Being a poor leader, right? You want to create a positive, cooperative atmosphere, right? Clearly define the crew roles and lead with encouragement and not criticism. Treat your crew as teammates, not subordinates. You don't want to be on a boat where the captain is an ass. It just ruins the experience for everyone, and people likely won't go out with you again if that's the case. A factor in that is poor communication. You want to align expectations before you even take the trip. Some crew may want to relax while others are eager to learn sailing. So you got to balance the responsibilities to ensure everyone enjoys their time. Another problem is waiting to teach certain skills. Before you've even gone on the trip, right, you want to teach some of the crew that might not necessarily be at the same level you are, knot tying, line handling, safety basics before the trip. Make it fun, but double check all the work. It's the skipper's responsibility to ensure everything is secure. Another problem is neglecting to check and recheck. So as the skipper, you're ultimately responsible for securing the dinghy, the mooring lines, and the anchor. Regularly checking the anchor overnight and setting alarms for drift. Inspecting all the systems to avoid issues like a loose outboard motor or failing equipment. And, the last one here is inadequate maneuvering skills. God, everyone loves docking. So confidence in tight spaces is a non-negotiable. You want to practice docking, reversing, crosswind maneuvering before your trip. NauticEd offers a maneuvering under power course that's a must. So check that out. That'll also be linked in the show notes. But these are the common bareboat charter mistakes, and don't make them.